All right.
Wow, I'm a buzzer.
Nice. Welcome back to GDEX.tv. Before we start with our next segment, I want to do some shout outs to some of our donators. So we got Superfan, Mike Messler.
Mike Superfan.
He wrote, "Thanks for having GDEX this year. Keep up the good content. It is our pleasure." Oops, I just lost it. There we go. All right. Sorry, I accidentally closed it. Wolf Gamer, shut up and take my money. Done. Thank you very much. And Shield Generator 7, so excited for GDEX, 2 exclamation points.
Ooh.
Please apply these funds to the audio DLC. So,
oh, that must have been like one of the first ones when we couldn't get any of the audio running.
So thank you all for donating, both GDEX, the community, and Make-A-Wish. Appreciate it. So now we are going to go into the segment I've been excited about all week long. Adam is joining us for a beer tasting, but you're also sort of a dev of needs, I guess?
Yeah.
What do you call it?
I could say that, yeah.
So you are CEO of Land Grant?
Yeah, co-founder, CEO, Land Grant Brewing Company.
Which is the brewery right over that away from us. And has been a partner of both GDEX and Multivarious for, I don't know, 6-7 years now, a pretty long time. So I had this idea. You had some new beers coming out. Let's taste some beers and just talk about developing.
Yeah, why not? For
solving problems. So before we go on, do you just want to kind of give a quick recap about you, how you got into Land Grant and developing?
Yeah, so we essentially, it was 6 years ago this month, we opened our doors here in Franklinton. It was a journey. A couple years before that, we did a Kickstarter campaign, which was successful, much like you guys.
Yep.
And
we know all about that. Yeah.
And that was back in 2012. Took us a while to find the right space, but we wanted to open a production brewery up in Columbus to be able to sell to bars, restaurants, and eventually in cans. So prior to that, my background's kind of IT project management, so I come from it from an analytics reporting side, and to that, when we started, I knew we needed data. I didn't know really what we were ever going to use it for.
Sure.
So really just trying to gather as much as that we could, and because with my background in analytics, and from that I've developed some internal kind of software solutions. It's a CRM, ERP that manages the whole brewery at this point. So out of need, and
that's pretty awesome. Yeah,
keeps it fun.
Yeah, and I think from a brewery perspective, or wait, should we do a beer first before we go on?
I think we should open the beer up. Because
so what do we have here?
I do this all the time when I get. I just did a tasting for some advertising people and went through the whole background and talked for like 5 minutes, and everyone's like, "We don't really care. We just want to drink the beer at this point." So hurry it up. So yeah, so this is our a brand new IPA that we came out with. It's going to be a year-round IPA. It's called Oh Sure. So this is something that talking about kind of. Even on the dev side, that our brewers have been working on this, tinkering with it. It was something that has, started out on a smaller scale. We just drank it internally. It's been in experimental pilot batches, and then finally this summer we felt like it was ready to go, and COVID was the perfect time to finish off.
Sweet.
So, yeah, cheers.
We can do the ASMR here.
Perfect. So this is a beer, when we first opened up, and if you've been in Columbus, been to our tap room, Stiff Arm is an IPA that most people knew us for. But I think as an Ohio State grad, we always, part of the story we tell is it's great. It's a red can with a football player on it, but even as someone who loves Ohio State football, being in Columbus, it is... this fall's been very weird, but usually you just get inundated with it all over the place. So
sure.
Seeing more red in football, some people are like, I don't really want to drink that beer, even though the liquid was good. So we always were like, how can we push it? And it's a beer we did in the very beginning, and people's taste have changed. Flavor profiles from when we started, everyone wanted a really bitter beer. You wanted the people that were getting into IPAs, and what we've learned by doing, and we're going to taste one of the citrus IPAs, the New England styles that aren't really bitter, they're juicy and fruity, and this kind of blends the best of both worlds. So it's something that we're super proud. I think it went from everyone at the brewery had Greenskeeper, the session IPA in their fridge, to now I think everyone's drinking this. Nice. So it's a fun beer. And Oh Sure is it's just a statement we say around the brewery all the time. So it's
Okay.
perfect. Like, hey, give me a beer. Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
You want a beer? Oh, sure. Yeah.
Nice. So you've mentioned COVID. You brought that up. But one of the
Came
things,
out right away.
Yeah, came out right away. So throughout all of GDEX, I've had the same tone where we have to talk about it, right? Like we're in it, we're in the middle of it, but I don't want to dwell on it. But I think one of the things that makes you a little bit unique, I mean, you definitely weren't sort of the first brewery of your kind in Columbus, but I definitely think you had a strong sort of foothold on what you're doing. And you also sell a lot of products external to like the Land Grant building over there. So has that been helpful for COVID? Like how has COVID impacted you over the past 6 months? I mean, this is your prime.
Yes, it's summertime.
Season.
It's generally one thing that we love doing at the brewery is we have a large beer garden. We have a lot of space. We love throwing huge events. We do a party with Jenny's every year. This would have been 2 weeks ago. Would have been our 6th anniversary party. We have bands and stuff. So definitely not having that has been kind of a drag on us. Just from that's something we always look forward to coming out of the winter. It's all the big summer events, but we've been able to adapt. We did home delivery in the beginning of when everything was shut down, and the response was great. Having 2 or 3 delivery drivers, myself, Walt, one of our other co-founders, driving around in a
Did you tell you
van.
that we bump into each other? We're in the same neighborhood.
Oh yeah,
So on walks, or he's walking his kids around.
That's awesome. Yeah. So being able to adapt and do that, and then once we were able to reopen, talking about kind of tinkering, and we knew that having all that space, a lot of people would probably want to come down because we have, I don't know, 40 some tables in the beer garden. But we wanted to make sure that the experience was both safe for our staff and the customers. So we took kind of the platform that we were using for our website and put together more of a contactless ordering app. So you're ordering it from your phone, you go up, you scan a QR code.
Yep.
And what we found from that, it was something out of necessity, but what it does is it speeds up. You're not making the decision at the ordering the beer, you're making it at your table. So when we have larger events, we think we're going to continue that because it's going to reduce the lines, because when someone gets up there, they just get their beer. They don't have to look at the menu and decide. So
So for those who are unfamiliar, there is the building, and then outside there's a beer garden, which for years is just traditional walk-up, order, whatever. And then I think it was you and I had a meeting, and we went over afterwards in the very early part of reopening the beer garden. And they're like, oh, we have an app now. And I was like, did I make this? And like, yeah. And I was like, I mean, you must have made it in like 3 days or something.
Yeah,
like, It seemed like you guys were open and it was rock and rolling. So, I mean, that's a perfect example. A couple of things that have popped up over some of the speakers is how people, in this case, got into games, right? Mm-hmm. But, my background is art, photography, and healthcare. Now I make games. Like you said, you were in IT, and now you're making software for beer.
Yeah.
So it's just how these skills can become transferable, and then particularly in COVID, you create a solution for yourself.
Definitely.
That seems to work pretty well.
Seems to be, yeah.
And I order a koozie every time I'm there too, because I keep forgetting to bring my koozie with me.
It's a good upsell. But I mean, it's definitely something that as we're getting into the winter, that's the other thing we're trying to see as it gets colder. It's been great with the warm weather in the summer, but what's our next step? And it's been fun to try to figure out some of those things. And our most recent, this is the breaking news, maybe, but
GDEX exclusive.
We're essentially, I bought an ice skating rink.
What?
But,
Wait, hold on.
And we're going to be doing.
I did not think that's where we were going.
It's not going to be real curling, but it's essentially going to be ice shuffleboard, but bar curling out there in the beer garden. So it's something that you can be outside, and we'll. As long as it's 50 degrees and under, it'll have a sheet of ice out there, and it's gonna be a blast. So
that's the most nonchalant announcement I think I've ever heard.
We've been just thinking we'll keep more people outside. All right, let's see if we can get an ice skating rink out there.
Yeah,
we got space.
I thought you were gonna mention something beer related.
Yeah,
or whatever. I didn't see ice.
Yeah, that's the thing. I thought I was getting into beer, and the amount of non-beer things that that the brewery has brought that I work on is great.
So I got a bunch of questions in summer popping up here. Before we go on, ending sort of our COVID thing, how how has that impacted you from a supply side, an inventory side? Like games, or you mentioned games, that's a pretty big sell through for you, right?
Yeah, so
OSU football games, we should specify.
Yeah, so we have a partnership with the Columbus Blue Jackets. They had 5 home games left in their season, and then the Columbus Crew, they had their first home game of the season, and then the next week everything shut down, and then the Ohio State football coming up, we sell our beer there. So those are large venues that we sell that essentially we were ramping up for summer and had lots and lots of kegs of beer that then had no place to sell. You couldn't sell it to a restaurant, couldn't sell it to a stadium, couldn't sell it to a bar. So, and it, not just us. I mean, that's all over the country. There was unfortunately a lot of very good beer poured down drains this pretty much summer, because there's not a real, like, it's not going to spoil and make you sick, but it just doesn't taste right. It's about 3 months, and that's about how long we were all shut down. So that was a big hit in the very beginning. But what we've been having to try to balance is there going to be another shutdown? How much beer do we keg? How much beer do we can? Where while bars and restaurants have been shut down, the grocery stores as a whole, I think the whole beer segment's up over 25% compared to last year through grocery stores. So you're having a lot of canned beer, which then is leading to we got the notification, because what else could 2020 bring, is there's going to be an aluminum can shortage coming up. So because everyone shifted everything from kegs to cans, so luckily we're pretty good right now, but there's a couple breweries in Ohio that just posted on Facebook that they can't get cans, and it's going to be an interesting time. So so yeah, it's just kind of just always rolling with those punches. And
absolutely,
yeah, it's been a really interesting thing with like COVID, and we talk about this a lot as being like an indie game studio, and then back when like games were first being started, you have to get like creative with everything, and I think that's what makes it really interesting with your approaches to things like the software and trying to build out, like you're taking these creative solutions to hit these kind of problems using technology, using kind of your backgrounds. And even though nobody's going to sit there and think like, oh yeah, beer, that makes sense for like an IT person, but like the amount of those kind of jobs and that kind of creativity kind of exists everywhere. And I think we've seen that a lot, like growing with COVID. So it's been interesting.
And I think the benefit of being smaller, we can be agile too.
Yeah.
Where a lot of our larger competitors, the breweries that sell all throughout the country, they really kind of took a step back and went to the beers that they've been brewing for 10, 15 years, the beers that got them there, because that's what they knew they could stock in all the grocery stores all over the place. Where we took the advantage, and you guys have seen it being next door, that I think we came out with 40 different beers this summer, which fortunately Walt, co-founder Walt, who does all the design, and Bonnie just knocked it out with all the great designs and creativity on that side, and the brewers have been making fantastic beer. So we took that opportunity to say, you know what, people are buying a lot more beers in cans, let's just throw as much beer as we can in there, and it seemed to be working out. So
so along those lines, I thought it was an interesting sort of comment, Cody, like without throwing your industry under the bus, like how sort of tech forward is the industry as a whole? Like, do you feel like you're ahead of the game? Or
so what's interesting, when we've interacted with larger breweries and even larger folks that distribute beer, when we show them our software that we're using and what our reporting capabilities, it's kind of astounding how people are operating without that sort of insight into their total operations. So that's something I think that...
Was that a result of maybe a heavy hobbyist kind of people getting into it?
Well, I think it's also the larger folks have just been doing the same way for 60 years. Okay. You go in and you sell your light lager to, this bar has always had a tap of Coors Light or Bud Light or whatever, and they're going to have it on tap, so it's just every week, how many did you sell? That's how many you need. It's not any looking at trends and actual kind of, or analytical and forecasting and stuff.
Yeah.
And then probably where we're lacking, which is always fun, is when even on the smaller or I say smaller, but like if you go to even at Rheingeist down in Cincinnati at this point, to see how technologically advanced their equipment is even. I mean, what we're doing is almost like a home brewer compared to what they're doing is, it's all automated. I mean, our stuff is semi-automated and sophisticated, but they have computers running all their brewing equipment. You're kind of almost like a ship captain behind their brew deck, where our guys are up there dropping hops in and doing everything manually. But
So I got a land grant specific question. Does the beer garden sell food?
that's a great question. So we have different food trucks Monday through Wednesday. Monday night is who is Monday night at this point? Street Time, local Franklinton food truck. Tuesday night is Satan's Realm. It's a vegan truck. Wednesday night is Two Fat Indians, and then we have the best barbecue in Ohio, Ray Ray's, Thursday through Sunday. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
I have a Ray Ray's problem.
Yeah, it's real bad.
It's real bad.
So having unlimited beer at your disposal and Ray Ray's, it's a lesson in self-control working at the brewery. It's very difficult not to, at noon on a Thursday, just go, all right, I'm going to just open a couple beers and grab some ribs.
Yeah,
And
time to
then,
go to
then,
burn
then take a
ends.
nap. But,
Yeah, those burn ends.
yeah.
Well.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
Definitely.
So kind of going to the dev side, because I think a lot of people are always curious, when you sort of pre-land grant world, when you were just learning your dev skills, like what languages were you focusing on?
So,
Platforms, frameworks?
So I think back when I was like in middle school, I learned Visual Basic was probably where I started back in, and then that kind of continued because you then could write macros in Excel and Access, always being kind of on the analytics side. So Basic is probably what I started in, and then I also dabbled in some web front end and a little back end in high school, web development. So I have Flash and what's funny, I was putting together some animations for our crew partner for a video for the crew, and I was using Adobe Animate, and I'm like, oh, I still remember some of the keyframes and stuff from Flash,
Nice.
and then most of my stuff, it's all PHP and MySQL,
Okay.
kind of based.
Those are good languages.
I'm now dabbling in some Node.
Oh, yeah,
getting
Node.js.
some live WebSockets and stuff for
Nice.
some real time statistics.
Nice.
That's a fun learning.
Our first speaker of the day still does Flash, and he's like diehard.
Yeah.
He loves
Yeah.
Flash. We want to go to beer number 2?
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not quite done with this one, but
No, we
we-
can always
just to keep the truck rolling.
we
We
are
don't want to pound 4 beers in 45 minutes.
Yeah, I still do have a panel after this. So
these are mostly crushable beers. So we do
Okay.
a weekly podcast where we rate how crushable the beer is out of a 6-pack, and you're kind of sitting around with friends for a couple hours, and
yeah,
how much could you actually finish responsible. There is a quarantine edition
Are you-
of
yeah.
that where you get an extra beer because you're probably already at home.
nice.
Got open number 2 for everybody at home.
Can you hear the difference? So this is the
This is the fall slices.
Okay.
So we'll take a sip.
oh yeah, totally.
So this is
Oh, nice.
of our citrus pale ale series. We've done 3 this year. We had fruit slices, lemon glow, and now fall slices. And these are kind of what I was saying earlier. It tastes very fruity. It tastes citrusy, but there are all the flavors from the hops. There's no, some breweries add like pineapple flavoring or grapefruit flavoring. This is all straight from the hops, and the way the hops and the yeast and the grain all work together. So these are, we kind of say at this point where we used to go like a lighter beer, like a Kolsch might be an entry beer. This is a great intro to craft beer for someone that doesn't like really bitter beer
Yeah.
or something that's too malty.
I mean, you know me, I'm the porter stout guy, so
Well,
I'm always waiting.
We got that.
I know.
We got that for dessert.
I'm eyeing that one. So we have a question here. Arctic M77 just got back on the stream. What are some of the new flavors for the season?
So we actually do have a fun for our anniversary party. We have a fun mixed 6-pack coming out actually next week, and we have there's a key lime beer that tastes like a key lime pie. I got to try that today. We partnered with Buckeye Donuts and are
Nice.
doing in Stoff's Coffee. So it's like a chocolate donut coffee.
Okay.
There is
You guys are getting crazy over there.
sour beer called Spruce Dickinson, and with spruce tips in it, and he's got a fever for more sour beer. That's like the tagline. There's the one though I think that most people are excited about, and we did a pilot version of, and it's an Oreo cookie imperial stout.
Nice.
And so and the called Dunked. That one's gonna be really.
You guys
good.
just like sit around thinking of puns, and then someone's like, "Fuck it, do it."
Sometimes, so that's always the fun. Sometimes we have the beer name. Like we did a beer. We have a couple Seinfeld beers, but the one Urban Sombrero.
Yep.
I was like,
That's Cody's
Where's,
jam.
where's it at, man?
it'll be back. But I texted Walt. I'm like, I was watching Seinfeld. I'm like, we have to do a Mexican lager and call it Urban Sombrero.
Yeah.
Design the label. Go. And so, or other times we'll have the beer and be like, all right, what the heck? Like Fall Slice is actually. That name that was the working title of it, and we're like, let's just go with it. So
Yeah.
That's awesome.
but
Yeah, I was saying, Chris, what are you saying? We literally created an entire game based off of puns.
I-
All of our main character are pun names. That's just how
I
creative
get
processes
it.
work.
I get
we need
it.
to get our brewer Justin over here. He's that's his favorite thing. He named our Oktoberfest, which is Lawn Raker, which was a play on Moonraker.
Moonraker,
Yeah.
yeah.
The original label was the Roger Moore James Bond, but
Yeah.
instead of him having the gun, he had a rake in his hand.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I think I still have one more Moonraker in my fridge, so I need to look at that one.
I think I've got one of those ones, and I've got Pool Party in my
So
fridge.
that's my favorite beer.
Yeah,
that
the
we
Pool
that
Party.
we brew. Yeah, I look forward to it because it's like summer comes out like
Yep.
during pool season, so comes out around Memorial Day. And goes
Why don't you have any
around Labor
pools in
Day.
the beer garden?
Uh,
Little mini inflatable pools.
they're not really COVID friendly.
I don't mean now.
We
but
did for the Pride in 2019. We did our float in the Pride Parade was a pool party, and
Nice.
Oh, nice.
we had a pool in the back that we were dragging. It was great, and then we had we had some pools out there.
That's awesome. Yeah, pool party is always my go-to. Like when people come over from out of town, they're just like, "Hey, what are your breweries?" They're like, "Try this beer." Like, there you go. It's so good.
So we chatted, I don't even 3 or 4 years ago about the system, the CRM system and stuff that you were
Mhm.
thinking. And at that time, you kind of had it in the back of your mind that you might like package that and make it available to other people. But did you end up ever doing that? Or?
Well, this is I think I've been telling people kind of going back to COVID that it has been a kind of blessing in disguise that the brewery has just been nonstop since we started that. When we chatted, it was something that it's still in the back of my mind at this point to do. It just haven't had the time to commit to it as the brewery's been growing, but I still think it's an opportunity because I've used other people's other breweries. I've seen the software they have. It's usually done by accountants and not people that are brewing or using it. So, and our team, it's been great. They've been the beta testers the whole time, and something that they didn't like, hey, could it do this? Then I can sit there and whip up the changes and
So catch me up to date because I missed the original conversation. What are you kind of working on with this CRM software? Like, how do you use that for beer?
So we actually it essentially runs the entire brewery. So
Okay.
from the sales side, it's a CRM, tracks everything from when we were doing our own distribution, which we still do a little bit of, getting the order, putting in the order, then routing that to our distribution side, building the routes, we had keg tracking through that, so we knew exactly where every keg was, and tracks our inventory from our product inventory to raw material inventory, and then all the way tracks the actual batches of brewing through the entire process. So, and then now it syncs with a lot of our tasting room stuff. It builds out now we have those digital menu boards.
Yeah.
And print out our menus. So as we change up our beers all the time, it keeps everything up to date.
That's
which is
awesome.
great.
That's really cool.
So, yeah, one thing I didn't realize is that live inventory is a very difficult thing to do. So that was
totally.
we had that. Our sales reps had that, and then when we have been working with various distributors, it's like, well, we sold even to our bar. We may have that in stock. We'll see, and then you find out the next day they didn't have it. So
Yeah. Have you run into like the online shopping cart things where like it comes out of your inventory but it's just sitting in somebody's cart for like?
So we did have that when we at one point we had 6 sales reps. So we actually, going through we instituted a whole triage system. So then they got indicated like inventory's low. It might be there, but just let the account know, and then they could follow up and make sure that we had it. So because between the tap room pulling from the inventory, then other reps pulling from the inventory. So yeah, that's definitely been something. And we still run into that doing the home deliveries too, trying to keep 2 separate inventories systems. So
when I was early college, I worked at Sears Hardware, and we would shut down for 3 days to do inventory, and it was amazing how far off we were. Like we were nowhere in the ballpark.
Oh yeah.
On anything.
Yeah.
It was a hot mess.
Yeah, it's crazy if you don't. Yeah, if you're not on top of it, it can get away from you really quickly.
Yeah. So I think that's really interesting, just how you're piecemealing this together based on whatever your needs of the moment are, and I think that's we talk a lot about starting up businesses and ideas, and you're sort of inadvertently doing it the right way, in the sense like you're not trying to make this a product, right?
Sure.
But if you were to make it a product, you're getting user validation, you're generating revenue while you're developing and testing it, and you sort of have a real clear insight to your customer base.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, those are like the three big things when
you're
trying to make a product,
exactly,
right?
Exactly.
So that's pretty cool that you get to develop, whether or not you end up packaging it and selling it or whatever. You're sort of going through that initial startup
Exactly.
process.
Yeah. The journey's been fun regardless of what happens.
Yeah.
So.
Want to jump to number 3 here?
We'll jump to number 3. Make sure. So this one is I actually really dig this label that Wolf put together. So this one is called Fresh. It is a wet hop IPA, which means most hops that you get are dried out and pelletized, and
That's not going to show up.
That is a really sweet.
these
You all
are
did this?
Here, can we?
Yeah.
Oh god, I'm just going to ruin everything.
Yeah.
Can you?
So and these are fresh.
There's no way we're gonna see it.
Fresh
Yeah,
from
no.
harvest, and then they're added to the boil the next day, essentially. So we've done fresh hop IPAs in the past where we've got hops overnighted from Oregon, but because how expensive it is to ship that many hops, we still not the whole beer is the fresh hop, and it's a pungent beer. And our brewer and Chris and our operations director of operations Mark drove essentially a refrigerated rider truck to north of Traverse City, Michigan, picked up hops that were harvested that day, brought them down, and drove them down and brewed them. So
That's awesome.
it was quite the adventure they had. So
All right, Chad, get ready.
there it is. Beer 3. This one's probably the most dangerous out of all of them. This one's 7%. So I kind of forget. The first one, 6.4% on Osher, a little high. Fall slices, I think it's a little more timid. It's probably around 5. Oh, no, it's 5.9.
I have to say, like, from my perspective, this is one of the best panels we've ever done. I'm just saying.
Just need some beer on all of them, right?
Just because I'm curious, I think we've had this conversation before, but I can't remember anything anymore. But, like, how is Ohio from a growing environment perspective for hops and the kind of things you need?
So you can grow hops anywhere. It's a weed essentially. They grow wild. Are actually related to marijuana in the same family. So they grew wild here, but hops grow. This is where beer shares the most characteristics. With wine, you get terroir, so of the earth. So grapes are flavored where they're grown.
Mm-hmm.
Hops that were grown in Europe that they brought over here had totally different flavor profiles. So you get a lot more pineapple, or a lot more, tropical fruit, citrus, pine, and American hops, and European hops are more spicy and earthy. Really the same hop too, and but the best hop growing regions in the U.S. is really the Pacific Northwest, but the Finger Lakes region in New York, and then northern Michigan, where you get pretty good wines, and you get great Pinots up in Oregon, where they grow these. You get terrible wine in Ohio, and the hops aren't that great either. So
I'm sure there's some Ohio vineyards that would.
Yeah,
But
well, you can get a good Ohio Riesling, I think. So
that's the thing. Like I've been going to Kelly's Islands in Lake Erie for 30 plus years, and there's wineries all around there, but they're always like so sweet.
Yeah, you can get a sweet. They grow a lot of
and Rieslings are sweet, so
they grow a lot of. I learned this a couple years ago. They grow a lot of grapes for grape juice in Ohio.
Oh, really?
So, interesting. As opposed to for wine.
So where do you get most of your product then from? Or?
Most of them are from either Michigan or Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
So these are from Michigan.
Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah. This there's something going on.
So you
for
get,
sure.
Yeah,
it's a lot more, vegetal would be kind of the word. It's a lot
Yeah, you have a whole story up
fresher.
there
Yeah.
about your van going up north.
Yeah, they got.
And then you turned right around.
we found out that you need a permit to drive a commercial vehicle for any reason in Michigan. So the fact they crossed the border with a refrigerated rider van, even though it was empty at the time, they got pulled over. I think they saw the Ohio plates on it. Luckily, the cop let them off with just paying the permit and didn't give them didn't give them a fine. But things you learn.
Yeah, the more you know.
Yeah.
So we're heading into winter, and not really. How do we phrase it? We have a lot of uncertainty, we'll say, about where things are going. But on a high note, like, what are you excited for let's say the first half of next year? Like,
I think getting back into the planning mode for when we can get past. I think there's still a lot unknown what next summer will be, but like we start planning the events in January for May and June. So that gets us. That will, I think, give us a little bit of normalcy to at least, whether they end up happening or not, get back into that planning.
And we should, just for our viewers, like the area we're in, Franklinton, was sort of this up and coming area. It's since, I think, blossomed. It's an artist, kind of creative, funky space. But there's a lot of events that happen in this area. A lot of creative events. Franklinton Fridays happens every month, so there's always.
Yeah, today was a Franklinton Friday. Would have been.
You don't even because COVID. Like, there's really no one around.
It's an art crawl with all the art studios open up, and there's music, and those are great Friday nights. So
we have COSI, our science center is 500 feet that away or whatever. So this is an area that's known for doing a lot of fun events. Some of them small, some of them pretty big, and I think Land Grant. Particularly with the beer garden, is sort of in the heart of a lot of those things.
Yeah, I think one thing that's really core to the way we've wanted to operate and the way we've operated is being a part of a community partner and being that central hub. And we've really had to take a step back and kind of reset ourselves this summer and said, almost for survival mode, we got to go back to how we started. And it's just got to be right now about making beer and selling beer. And that's not really why we necessarily got into the business. It's still about the community around it. So we're hoping next year we can get back into the way we wanted to run things. It's not just about making beer and
you're certainly a hub for. You mentioned Jenny's. You have a lot of different charity events. We throw in many events there.
We've had a couple of GDEX kickoff parties there.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. That's normally
actually
there. Yeah.
I think our first GDEX kickoff party was at Land Grant.
So I think
the first GDEX.
The first GDEX one. Yeah.
So whether that that's not necessarily going to be first quarter, but seeing that kind of light at the end of the tunnel, I think is something. But we've learned a lot, the way we've approached our beers during the summer. So I think continuing that and the lineup that we're going to have in Q1, I'm super excited about. I think we, the brewery is a real mirrors my personality of a very ADD person, as you can see all the different types of beers we do, various styles. So
40 and
so we're able to focus a little bit, I think, coming out of this crazy time. So I think that's awesome. Going to be a fun part of it.
I just realized also, and now I feel like an ass, but you guys hosted my wedding after party.
That's true.
I probably should have mentioned that.
Yeah. Well, should we get to the dessert? I know this is the
one. Yes, this is my jam. So Son of a Mutter is
another Seinfeld reference beer.
Yes, and that's a general staple. There was a period of time, dark days, when you didn't have Son of a Mutter for a while. Yeah. But then you went and sort of reworked this a little bit.
Yeah. So the story behind Son of a Mutter was why it was always number one on the board. It was the first beer we ever brewed. Nice. And so, unfortunately, you're in the minority of people that love brown ales.
I don't get the IPA. IPAs they're fine.
Good.
They're fine, but
especially if you're having Ray Rays, nothing goes better than a brown ale.
I just feel like
with
everyone's
food, barbecue, hamburger, whatever you're eating. Good. So we took that, and this is it's a s'more version of it. So there's
Sure
cocoa
is.
nibs in it,
Yeah.
vanilla beans. So it's and surprisingly, with all of that, it's very drinkable. Like it doesn't have too heavy of a body. I think you could finish 5 of these pretty easily.
Yeah.
Is there and you may not know this, but is there like a correlation between people? So I like porters and stouts,
Mhm.
but I also tend to like earthier wines. Is that like correlated, or am I just like a weirdo?
I think you get a lot of the same. You get those tannins that you would get, the darker, dark fruit kind of plum, those kind of flavors that you'll get from those types of wines.
I don't know. I'm into them. Yeah, are you gonna do anything?
This one's for you, chat.
So fun thing about this label, it started out, we have another beer that came out this summer, and it is a trail mix pale ale, and it was a nod to one of my favorite shows growing up. We're like, what could be like trail mix? And the beer is called Anawana, after Salute Your Shorts.
Salute Your Shorts. Oh my god!
And so Walt originally,
That's amazing.
the label we put together with it was some people around a campfire, and we're like, come on, like it's got to be more like the show. And so now it's actually, there's some boxer shorts on a flagpole.
Yeah.
And so he repurposed that label and to the campfire, but took
That's amazing.
the horse and the jockey. If you look closely, it's the horse and the jockey from the Son of a Mutter Can roasting marshmallows around a fire.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It is.
Is Salute Your Shorts? Is that a little? Was that?
Yeah,
in?
that's
That's
a little before.
Okay. So, as just a personal thing, the Halloween episode of Salute Your Shorts, I don't know if you remember it, that has stuck with me since I saw it. So for the past like 30 plus years, there's a part in my head that.
So what stands out from that?
There's just,
episode
and
for you?
I bet if I was to like retell it, it's probably completely wrong. But there was just something about it. It was this like quasi, not Friday, Freddy Krueger-ish
Okay.
kind of thing. Just something about it stuck with me, and I don't know why.
So mine is it was they were wrestling, and it was Donkey Lips and Sponge.
Yep.
And they snuck off the campground to go get a bunch of burgers, and Donkey Lips.
We're way off track.
He smuggled all the burger wrappers so no one else would get in trouble, and he didn't make weight. He was too heavy. And then they realized that it was probably because he had all the burger wrappers, but the scale was actually off balance, and he did make weight. So
everything worked out.
Everything worked out.
So we have a question here that has nothing to do with anything, and I don't actually understand most of it, but has Caleb gone to perform Mortal Kombat against Flagar the Destroyer? Is that why Cody's here now?
that was the fly from earlier in the stream.
Oh, was it? Did I miss that? So no, Caleb's over there. He's just Caleb's not a beer drinker, so
I'm more of a
He got
mead
kicked
and
out.
a hard cider kind of guy. So Cody's taking a break and sipping some brew.
Yep. This is a good break from behind the desk I've been at for the last 6 hours.
yeah, we unlocked him from the desk so he could.
My shackles are finally free.
Now
they'll know why the rest of the stream's off when he
Yeah.
Wait a second.
When it turns out this hasn't been broadcasting audio this entire time.
Oh, no, I'm listening.
Okay. Sweet. Yeah.
I think. Yep.
What? No, I got nothing.
All right, cool. I was gonna say, I wanna quickly thank Land Grant, because I'm sure a lot of our viewers are also members of our community and stuff like that. And every year since we've done it, Land Grant has been a major partner with our annual game jam. So we actually just wrapped on our GDEX game jam, which check out the games at thegdex.com/game jam. But yeah, it was definitely weird being a part of like a GDEX multivarious game jam and not having like a Land Grant beer with me. So they definitely for a couple of their opening streams and stuff, I went in my fridge and grabbed one. But yeah, you guys definitely, that's something that everybody tells us every year. They're just like, did you get Land Grant sponsored? I'm like, yeah, we did. Like,
Yeah, we did.
Well, here's my invite for next year when we're not socially distancing. Now that we have a giant jumbotron in the beer garden, you guys have to be doing something
We're
when
down.
you're out there.
Yeah, we are down.
Of, either demos or
Whenever-
or a game competition during the.
If anyone offers us cool tech, we will be there. We've got, so just real fast before we jump ahead, but a lot of our charity events have been in partnership with Land Grant too. So we've raised, I don't even know how much money through the events we've had at Land Grant that have gone to things like Nationwide Children's Hospital, Extra Life, Able Gamers. So we're super appreciative of that. That's been really awesome. But as far as going down another rabbit hole with cool tech, we get to do a lot of cool shit in this area. So we're happy to mess around. If you want to give us access to a really cool screen, we'll do that. COSI, let us mess around with their planetarium.
Oh,
Yeah, do you want me to tell the planetarium story?
Yeah, if you want to tell the planetarium story.
So, and some people in the chat are going to know this and others aren't. So we were working with COSI for a couple years to do a game jam for the planetarium called Space Jam, because of course it was. And so part of that is we needed to figure out how can we do like input for the tech, how's that going to work? You know, can we mess around with tools? Can we find out ways to make it like look good? And so Chris and I, at the time, we were hosting GDEX at COSI. So Chris and I had a meeting with COSI, and we brought the rest of our team over. And, you know, we brought like a PS4, and we brought like our computers. And we're just like, all right, guys, like mess around with the planetarium. You know, we're going to go have this meeting, and then we'll come back, and we can kind of talk as a group what we can do. And so Chris and I are gone for like half an hour, and we're walking back.
Let's pause real fast, because if COSI knew what they were getting into,
yeah,
they would have realized this was a bad idea.
Yeah, so Chris and I are kind of walking back, and we're just like, did anybody supervise the planetarium? Was there anybody who was watching over that? And they were just like, I don't think so. So we walk back, and Katie, our artist, is playing Limbo on the planetarium screen, and she's deathly afraid of spiders and just got to the spider point. Meanwhile, Tom, our programmer, had gotten into the like running station.
Like the back end?
Yeah, the back end for it. And found out that you can make words fly across the screen. So we walk in, and all we see is just Katie screaming at the fact that there's a 20-foot spider in front of her, and then the word butts just flying across the screen of a planetarium. And we're just like, all right, cool. I guess this is GDEX time.
I bet.
Do you think they use that during field trips?
Yeah.
They just let butts
I bet
fly
Tom
across
was
the-
doing stuff that they didn't even know. And keep in mind, like this was like a multi-million-dollar renovation they had just finished, and they're like, "Oh yeah, go ahead and mess around with this." Like,
We did a beer with them for the
Yeah.
planetarium.
Yeah,
launch.
Stargazer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, the EF1. It was the
Okay,
first of the Space Grant series.
Yeah.
That we did. So
that was awesome. So I guess where are we at? 6:46. Are we?
Let's talk about merch.
Well, we're gonna talk about merch. Should we talk about merch now? I guess.
You do what you want. You still got a little time left.
Okay. Well, we'll do a quick merch stop then. So, we mentioned the merch store before. I am wearing the new GDEX hoodie,
I am wearing the new GDEX hoodie.
which is actually like amazingly soft. Here, feel this.
that is super soft.
I know.
That is super soft.
So we had a.
Show us the backside.
Well,
Yeah, I got it.
hang on. So I'm gonna tell a little story. So we.
No, wait, there. I can't see
There it is.
Yeah,
it's
that's
on there.
good.
Right there.
So we try to work as best we can with local vendors, local partners. Almost everything that we do at GDEX, with the exception of like the badges and lanyards, who are out of Little Rock, Arkansas, because Rockstar Passes has just been a great partner for us. Almost everything we do is local. And so we were thinking about, okay, how do we get GDEX going this year? What do we want to do during COVID and whatever? Our partner from last year, who Inked and Screen, who are fucking awesome and gamers at heart and like real nerds. And for those of you that came to GDEX last year, when you got a shirt, they screen printed it at
right there.
GDEX.
That's
So
awesome. Yeah.
you've
That's
got,
good. Got it.
Caleb's got one. You've got the shirt. It's got like all the little imperfections that kind of screen printing can have. So it's like your shirt, right?
Mhm.
They were really awesome. The year before that, we had Deco, another local group, and they decided to kind of close down. So we went with Inked and Screened. Inked and Screened, COVID, had to kind of close down, and that sort of like broke our heart. And
Yeah.
so not only are we completely revamping GDEX, but we're like every part of GDEX is kind of being revamped. So this year we partnered with Tonic, another local screen printer, and they have been awesome. So we have our normal shirt, which typically we do the exhibitors on, but Katie had a really cool GDEX TV
Yeah, that's an awesome
design.
Kind of. Chris, pull the corner of that.
Pull the corner. So this was part of my like GDEX TV idea, and we went with that old school like retro bunny
yeah, this is
ears
how it
TV kind of thing, you know. It's sort of like little Twilight.
That's how everyone's tuning in right now.
Yeah. You know, Twilight Zone, Outer Limits-y kind of. I mean, again, maybe we're showing our age, but sitting around, watching these UHF channels at 10, 11 o'clock at night. And then we, of course, have this awesome hoodie, which is super soft.
And then my pride and joy.
But Cody had this awesome idea because we're in COVID world. Multivarious is working remotely for at least the end of the year. And he's like, why don't we do some PJ pants?
Yeah, everybody's been doing masks,
That's
right?
a great idea.
And so we were just like, okay, cool. Everybody's done masks. Like, that's cool. We love it. But what can we do that's kind of different and unique? So available for a limited time from our store at Tonic, the GDEX TV sleep pants. They're super comfortable. I got to wear mine last night.
So
very excited.
Yes, I tested them out as well. Last night.
They run as a heads up, at least for me.
Same soft material.
They are awesome.
It's
and then
nice.
Katie did another awesome design. We have the 3 TVs stacked with our characters, our GDEX characters.
Yep.
I thought that was a great idea. Baby girl.
Sorry.
If you want to order, go to our site. If somebody in the chat can please put the link below with our bot commands. I think the pants. Oh, good. They got it.
It's there.
So we've got $20, $30, $40.
Yep. Make it nice and easy for you. I think, Chris, what do you think? I think the pants maybe go like a size up if you like. They're a little bit tighter.
Yeah, I think the pants are a little. They run a little small. So if you want like a medium, I might go for a large. But they're super comfortable. I wore them last night to
And they're
bed.
sweatpants, so you don't really want.
Yeah.
Leggings.
So I think Cody. Let's give a little round of applause for Cody. I think that was a great idea.
I'm gonna do it
For all of those who are going to be, not only the.
So you don't have to put it down; you can just clink it.
Yeah,
in
there you go.
You can.
But not only do we have COVID remote work, but we're also heading into winter. So
It's perfect.
when you got to bundle up and be warm.
Yeah. So
You have to
get the
walk,
matching
when you
set.
gotta walk the dog, maybe
Yeah.
in the morning.
She's not walking anywhere.
Yeah. So buy our merch. Help us out. This has been a thing.
All right, so we're getting close to wrapping up. Maybe what's our ETA? About 10 minutes. Do we have any ads or anything?
Yeah, I think I loaded up about 5 minutes of ads. So.
Okay, so about 4 minutes then.
Yep.
Is there anything else you want to talk about? I appreciate you coming in, sharing the beers. This is by far my favorite, but I think we knew that ahead of time.
What's been? I guess I'll ask you. What's been your guys' COVID activity that has gotten you through? Whether it's a TV show you've binged on or a game that you've gotten back into.
Yeah. I think land grant beer has been my COVID hobby.
I will say, and it's a terrible joke, but it's people may have liver problems after COVID.
What else is there to
the
do?
lung problem.
Yeah, totally.
So make sure you are hydrating afterwards and drinking responsibly.
Schitt's Creek.
Schitt's Creek.
That show is absolutely amazing. I've been playing a little bit of video games, but just because of GDEX, we've been But it's nice because the new consoles are coming out in 3 weeks.
The GDEX.com/winbig.
Yeah,
get your chance.
Yeah, don't forget the Win Big contest.
You can finish the rest of your quarantine with a brand new console.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, my actual answer that's not binge drinking. I got the Tony Hawk's 1 and 2 remaster. That game is real good. Play it a lot. I think I've probably got like 100 hours into that game right now. Like just any spare time I have is just that.
Did you play the original Tony Hawk's?
Oh yeah. I think I had to. So the game like similar though.
Yeah.
I think that I go back to because I was I had Cool Borders. Was the of the button smashing.
Cool Borders 2000.
Boarding or skateboarding or snowboarding. So
I love how Tony Hawk caused like a spin-off of like all the different like there was Cool Borders. I remember
was it
Cool
SSX?
Borders.
Is that?
SSX.
SSX. That was, everybody loved that one.
That was a good one.
But my favorite one is the like rip-off ones that you'd start to see. So I remember there was like a Disney skateboarding game where you can play as like Woody. But my favorite, which is the epitome of like 2000 kids, for the PS1 they had a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater rip-off with Razor scooters. And so you're riding around on Razor scooters, and you get to like choose like, oh, I got my neon orange scooter that I'm gonna do like a little twist with the front wheel, and that's it.
That's fun. I mean, I didn't even think when you see every mobile game that's popular, and then in the App Store there's like 25 of the same ripoff.
Yeah.
But people were doing that forever.
Oh, it's been forever.
You'd think big butt because it was a big console launch,
Yeah.
I guess I was thinking.
Oh, it was
different way.
in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
There was so much junk software.
Yeah. The Road Rash Skitchin. I don't know if you ever played
Yeah.
Skitchin on
Yeah.
Sega. That's a fun one. Similar.
All right. So as we wrap up, I like to give guests an opportunity. Anything cool? Something you want to announce? Something you're excited about?
I think I already
Think
did,
we did
with
it?
with the ice skating rink, which is pretty cool. But no, it's we have our 6th anniversary. If you are in Columbus, special 6-packs go on sale next Tuesday night. Limited amount of them. I only named 4 of the variety. I think we've only announced 4 of the variety officially, so I don't have the other 2. So you can get those delivery around city. We do home delivery. If you are
that was
quarantining
another
and don't
thing
want to
you
leave.
did.
Yeah, it's been great, and it's free delivery if you order a case of beer, which is 4 6-packs. Otherwise, they're available for pickup. And then if you're interested in learning a little more about the brewery, next Saturday is technically our anniversary party, but essentially for the most part it's going to be a normal day, but we're having 2 separate sessions. And at 2 o'clock, myself, Walt, one of the other co-founders, and Quentin, and probably some other Land-Grant guests are going to do a live Q&A, talk about our history, talk about the brewing industry, some of the stuff I touched on earlier, and then taste through the anniversary 6-pack. And then at 6 o'clock, our brewers are going to do the same thing. So if you're in town and looking for a little more beer knowledge, that'd be a fun thing to do.
Nice. And you also have a podcast, right?
Yeah, Wednesdays. We record it Wednesdays, but every Thursday it comes out. It's Beers with the Brewers. And I mentioned the crushability scale. So
Is that available on like iTunes?
iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, anywhere your podcasts are. It's generally about 4 of us, but we talk about stuff going on at the brewery, but beer, the history of the beer, the style, what kind of ingredients, a lot of dumb Seinfeld references and other pop culture stuff. So
Nice.
we have fun with it. I tried playing it for one of my, if you're not really into beer, you might be kind of bored with it. I was with my buddy last week who doesn't really drink beer, and we were listening to him. I'm like, you probably hate this. Let's turn this off. You never know.
Yeah.
Just have a beer.
That's awesome.
And thank you again for coming in.
No, cheers, guys.
Running us through.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was awesome. Again, Land-Grant Brewery. If you're in Columbus or Central Ohio, or even if you're not, and you want to come up and check it out, particularly when COVID isn't a thing,
COVID's not a thing.
it's pretty awesome. So
Just next door. Literally just next door.
Literally
Literally just next door. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.